Hi there friends, welcome to episode 11 of my knitting podcast here on Muddy Boots Maker. My name is Amy and I'm coming to you on Jaja Warring country here in Victoria, Australia. And this is my second time shooting this podcast. So I did it all yesterday and then I sat down to edit the video and there was no sound. So please hit like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and send me a comment, make me feel a bit better about doing this all over again. First thing, I had a few people asking about the quilt that I've just shown you. Some people were asking in last month's podcast, show us the quilt, what's the quilt that you're sitting on? So I made this quilt when I was pregnant with my third child, so my last baby, Hazel. I made it when I was pregnant with her. It was when I first got into printing with leaves. We lived in a house that had a very, very old, massively big fig tree, and I was obsessed with printing with fig leaves and have been ever since. I love printing with figs. I used all scraps sort of fabric and made these squares along with the prints of the leaves and popped it together. It was the first quilt that I ever made, so that was quite special to make for Hazel, and I absolutely love it. It's something that I would like to make again. So yesterday when I was filming, it was pouring with rain, very cozy inside, sort of cuddle up on the couch and knit sort of weather. And today it's not raining. It's expected to rain a little bit, I believe, but the weather is calmer. There's no thunderstorms out there and the wind has died down, and my veggie garden looks very happy after all that rain that fell yesterday. I had this incident happen in the garden. We went out for an entire day to a friend's farm and came home to all of the chickens in my vegetable gardens and my flower garden. They dug up and they ripped leaves apart. They were quite destructive. In hindsight though, there's not as much damage as when I first found them in the garden. I bawled my eyes out. I was so upset. They had eaten seeds that I'd just planted and they had dug up seedlings, and oh, it was a disaster. They moved, you know, all that beautiful sawdust that I'd put in the pathways. They mixed the dirt with the sawdust and oh, it was a nightmare. Anyway, it's not as bad as it could have been. Somebody accidentally left their gate open, and I don't think they realised the gate was open till maybe later in the day, so they hadn't done a massive amount of destruction. And my kids pointed out, they were like, at least it wasn't the paddock gates and the sheep didn't get in. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. At least. Okay, so I am on a bit of a spur to get my WIPS completed. I just want a clean slate almost. I really want to finish things. So I haven't got anything new that I've cast on, but I've been working on 3 projects that I have on the go right now. Only 3. I do have another beanie that I'm knitting, but I haven't been knitting on that, so I won't show you. And I have 1 finished object. So first of all, I should actually talk to you about what I'm wearing, and that's something that I almost forget every single time I do one of these episodes. So I am wearing my Ramona cardigan, and it is actually missing a button. I need to sew one of the buttons back on. But I'm wearing this. It's in Bendigo Woollen Mills yarn. I'll put on the screen what the yarn is, I've forgotten. And I am wearing one of my Hinterland Dress hacks. Actually, this one, there's a long, big story about this dress because I made it about 3 times too big, and it was the first dress I made. And then I came back and I picked it all apart and made it into what it is now. So I've also printed fig leaves on the panels down the front. Yeah, so that's what I'm wearing today. Okay, so first project is the beautiful smelling. This yarn is just gorgeous, and I will show you what I'm using. I am using British Breeds yarn by Marie Wallin. So this is it here. And it smells so lovely and sheepy. So nice. So I've come up to a little bit of a hiccup on this sweater. I have 2 and a bit of balls left in the grey, and that's all that was left in the colour in that dye lot. So I managed to snag another 3 balls because I wouldn't have had enough to finish the body, let alone start on the sleeves. I'm going to do a little bit of knitting surgery on this sweater. The bodice or the yoke part has ended up a bit longer than I want, and currently the underarm is sitting probably about down here, and I want it to sit up a bit higher. So I've done this before with some colour work sweaters where the yoke comes down lower than I want it to. And what I've done is I've picked up under the arm and I've just knit a few rows back and forth, picking up more of the stitches in the sleeve. And this just brings up the underarm slightly. So I'm thinking I'm going to do that. My other option is to pick it back all the way to here and separate for the sleeves up here, and then do the colour work on the body here and on the sleeve. Yeah, I swatched, and look, I thought this was going to turn out exactly the same as the first Birkin that I knitted, which worked out perfectly under the arms and everything, but it hasn't. So yeah, I think I'm going to stick with the first plan, which is to just go under the arms and knit across a bit. The body is quite wide, wider than I'd usually do a crop sweater. So we'll see. I think I'll stick with it being that wide because it's nice and comfy and loose. Yeah, so I think the sleeves will end up being 3/4 sleeves. Yeah, I'm excited to get this one finished before it gets too warm and I can't wear it. I love the colours. I have so much left over of the colours, and I plan to do some beanies, some colourwork beanies with these colours in it. Yeah, they're just so beautiful, so pretty. I shall report back and let you know how I go in the next episode with my little bit of sweater surgery there. It's not really surgery, is it? Because I'm not cutting anything. I'm just sewing up, you know, knitting up the sides. Yes, so that is my first WIP that I'm currently working on, but have paused on that one. I haven't been working on it as much just because I've been thinking over how I'm approaching the next part. So I will definitely get on to doing it when I have a little bit of headspace to attack the underarms and make sure that I do it exactly right on both sides. So my second project, I highly recommend that you don't do what I've done with these socks. So I started them 4 years ago, and I don't recommend you leaving a project for so long without making notes as to what you were doing. So I've been working on this pair of socks. Originally, I had the idea, which I did with 2 other pairs of socks, is I knit one each on each of the yarns, and then I knit another round of 2 at a time socks. So then at the end I end up with four socks with 2 pairs of socks. I was going to say 4 pairs. That's not right. So that was the idea with these, right? But see how narrow they are? They're very narrow. And I've realized that I went onto the body too early and didn't do the toe long enough and to increase the amount of stitches that I'd needed. They still fit me, they're nice and snug, and I believe back when I knitted them I was aiming for a tighter gauge and I wanted them to be snug, but I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have decided to do this fewer stitches. Like I needed to do another couple of rounds of increasing. So because they're so slender, I've had to do the foot part longer, because as I pull them on, when they expand, when they go wide, the length of them goes shorter, if that makes sense. I am going to finish these. I did a different colour for the toes, so I used this one for this sock here, and I plan to do the cuff the same. But this is what happens when you have a project sitting for 4 years. You find this yarn that you used at the toe and you use it in a sweater for your daughter, and so there's no more left. But I found this little mini skein, so I'm going to use this for the top of the second one. So I'm holding back at the moment because I haven't wound this tiny little mini skein, and I'm ready to do the rib. I'm going to do quite a high rib. And then what I'm going to try and do is squeeze another 2 socks out of the same yarn. So these are going to be an odd pair of socks, and I'm going to do the proper amount of stitches again with another pair with this colour and another pair with this colour. That is my plan, with all of the toes, the heel and the cuff being in these colours. So that I should be able to get 2 pairs of socks out of that, what's left over after these skinny socks that I've made. And I am using the pattern 2 at a time toe up magic loop socks. I don't think that's what the title is, but it is by Very Pink Knits. I'm using that pattern, and I've ended up with the amount of stitches between the child size and the woman's size, so I don't know what happened there. I must have just gotten really excited about adding this little pearl row here. I got excited about that, and I just did it on the front, so it's not on the back, and just completely forgotten to add a few more rows to make the stitches the correct amount. Anyhow, they will be fine. I will wear them, and I will knit another lot of socks the correct way next time. My last WIP is the house dressing dress I will pop the name on screen. And of course, I've forgotten to mention everything that I talk about. I will put links below in the description, in the video description down below. So in my last video, when I got this out, I ended up pulling out a lot of the stitches and I had to put them all back on the needle, but I have got both the needles here and I'm not going to let that happen again. And the good thing, the silver lining about having to film this completely all over again, is that I have actually done a few more rounds on this dress last night. So you get to see more of it in this new video, which is exciting because I've actually finished the doors on some of the houses at the bottom of the colourwork section. So there's a couple of doors and a window. I'm hoping this blocks out really nicely. Some of the areas feel a little bit, I mean, it's all, there's 720 something or other stitches on these needles, so it's not gonna look great me trying to show you while it's all bunched up like this. It's got a rolled hem, I guess a rolled hem. It's, the hem has been stitched under here, so it's nice and neat. Is that showing? Hide behind it. And the way I'm getting it through this colour work, doing over 700 stitches, is that I've got markers every 20 stitches, but I've also got these, are they pink? The pink markers every round. So there's so many rounds. There's 2 sizes for the skirt and I'm doing the bigger size, so I wanted the real twirly skirt on my dress. And this is 1 round, so they're all of the stitches on the colourwork chart. So each one of these has a pink marker at the end, at the start and the end. And then at the very beginning of the rounds, I have this marker here. So that tells me that I'm at the very start of the next round. And it's repeated, I think 4 times for the size I'm doing. So I have to do each one 4 times. And this is working well. At the start, I was quite overwhelmed with this amount of stitches and following the chart. It was quite overwhelming. So as you can see, I started marking off with a texter when I finished a round, and that's really, it's helping me, it's guiding me really well. What else did I tell you about this yesterday that I've now have to remember everything I said? I'm not even yet halfway. There's still quite a bit to go, and each round takes quite a long time. Like last night, I think I only managed to do 4 rounds, and then I looked at the clock and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's late. It's late. Yeah, but it's going to be worth it, right? It's going to be worth it. I am using these 2 colours from Bendigo Woollen Mills. It is the classic 5-ply. This pattern is made for fingering weight, so 4-ply. But I've done all of the calculations and it's going to end up being the correct size for me with the 5-ply yarn. So I just went and got my tea. I forgot to bring it down. I have these lovely flowers from my garden. I have had to look up the name, how to pronounce these. Anemones. And then some daffodils. So they're the flowers that are coming out of the garden at the moment. Early spring flowers. And I'm drinking some hibiscus tea. Yum. Okay, so I think that is pretty much all I need to say about this dress. It is just taking its time, but I'm enjoying working on it, and I'm very excited to get to the point where I finished the colour work and we'll go on to just plain knitting. That will be very exciting. I'm already thinking about knitting it again in blue. So very excited about the idea of doing another one. And I could even do like some different colour work. I love the houses on the bottom of the dress. I will pop another photo of the dress up here again so you can see the houses are just so pretty. But imagine if it had something like this on the base. How beautiful would that be? So nice. Or even just like a leaf design repeating at the base. That would be really nice. That would be nice in green though. It would be really nice in this green. So this means that I am up to showing you my finished object, and I have grabbed this out of my son's bedroom this morning because he has been wearing it ever since I cast off. It is the Guston sweater, and I've knit it in luxury yarn 10 ply from Bendigo Woolen Mills. Just a really hardy yarn. I like to use Bendigo Woolen Mills for my kids because they're out there in the farm getting all dirty, and Samuel's already had to pull off heaps of moss from this sweater when we were in the oak forest, and they were playing in the on the rocks and that, and he had to pull off a lot of moss from this sweater. I will put some video footage of him wearing it. He's very excited that I have finished it, and he's already requesting a second sweater. This one is going to fit him till he's like 18. It's just so big. He asked for it to be longer so it covered his bum and kept him nice and warm, but the sleeves are really long as well. I measured him up, and yeah, it's just turned out to be a little bit bigger than I imagined. I did size 2, so I think the second size is for like the first size of like a small woman or man. So the first size is for a child, and then yeah, I did the second size because I wanted it to last longer. I didn't want it to, fit him for one winter and then I have to knit it again like I did with his last sweater that I knitted him. That did not last long at all, and he's growing so fast. He is almost 12. So yeah, so that is my finished object, and I'm so pleased to have it done. It only took 3 weeks to knit. It didn't even take that long because I didn't knit on it very much the first week. So I'm really, really happy with the outcome. However, the pattern could be worded much better than it is. I have noticed that other people have commented on that same issue. It's just not worded very well in some sections. It's not even that they expected you to have that expertise in knitting to know what the next step was. It's just like, it's almost like there were no joining words in the sentences, or something just wasn't right. It didn't flow well. So you read it again and again, and it was just like, huh? But once I understood, that was fine. I had a real big hiccup when I came up the body and started on the textured part. I followed the chart, and how I imagine following the chart is it, you go, because you're knitting back and forth, not in the round. The chart was written for in the round, and that was where I was struggling. It wasn't written for going this way and then going that way and then going this way and that way. I didn't realize, but you had to read the chart as if you were just looking at it from the front. So when you came back down this way, you had to do the opposite stitches. So where it said to knit, you needed to purl, and where it said to purl, you needed to knit. So Hazel's at the window. Okay, sorry, Hazel was just telling me that there was someone at the front door, but it's all good. So I knitted it once. I was like, this does not look right. Pulled it back, knitted it again, does not look right. Then I followed the written instructions and it worked out perfectly. And then I had that, the chart it's not telling me exactly what to do, it's telling me what it should look like at the front. And if they'd just written that somewhere, that would have been helpful. Because even for me, being quite an experienced knitter, it just stumped me as, like, if I make my own little pattern, I'm gonna write it exactly what I want you to do. I'm not gonna make you have to think, okay, this is the right side, it needs to look that way, so I need to do the opposite when I'm knitting backwards. Anyway, please let me know if you've struggled with patterns before that are not written well. You know, this pattern is not supposed to be for experienced knitters. It's supposed to be for just above beginner knitters, and I just think, well, I've told Samuel that I don't want to knit this one again, and I've got some yarn for him, and it's in DK 8 ply. This one's in 10 ply, which is worsted weight. Is that correct? I think so. Yeah, so I need to find a whole new pattern. He loves that the front is open and that the neck isn't too high up. He doesn't like crew neck ones. So if you know any patterns that are in DK that are similar to this design, also the sleeves, it was really important that it was a set-in sleeve. I've knit one for him and the sleeve just sort of pulls down on his shoulders and he doesn't like that. So yeah, I need to take into consideration a lot of things and find a new pattern. And it was hard enough finding this pattern, so I'm gonna do the searching, but if you know of any patterns, please let me know. I have got a beautiful charcoal colour for another sweater for him, and I think that one will be great because it won't show all the mud as much as other ones can. He chose the buttons and the colour of this yarn. So that is my finished object for this month. While I have you here, I have a few other things I'd like to chat to you about. So we have been doing a lot of hanky making, getting ready, getting stock up for Christmas, dare I say. And I noticed that there were a few designs that had sold out in my shop. So particularly this one, I didn't even realize that I had some of this fabric left. So I've made up some of those and I have to take photos of these and get them online today. But yeah, I've been working, Savannah and I have been working on stocking up the handkerchiefs for our wholesale stockists and for the online shop, getting ready for Christmas. But we've also been working on this new product. Mimosa Botanicals is a local business to Castlemaine. Christiana makes beautiful natural perfumes and essential oil blends, bath salts, and these are her new eye pillows, which we have been sewing the linen covers. So they've got a little pillowcase, so we sew the covers and the inserts, which have all the beautiful, amazingly smelling ingredients inside. It's just a heaven to work in the studio when we get a big bucket of the mixture and fill these gorgeous eye pillows. Yes, so excited to be making these for her, and they are, I will put a link in the description, but they are up on her online shop, and you will be supporting a local handmade business by purchasing any of her beautiful products, or even going to a stockist. She has a lot of stockists around Australia, so if you head over to her stockist page, you can find someone close to you and support a small shop. And I've also been working on more of my pocket belts. I'm so pleased that you're also excited about these pocket belts that I have been making. I have a couple more left in my shop. So this one and this one here. And amazingly, this one is still available. This is a very unique one with one of my fig leaf patterns on it, or prints I should say. I'm very tempted to keep this one for myself, but I've still got it up there, so if someone loves it just as much as I do, they can have it. And I have plans for some quilted ones. I just got to find that little pocket of time where I can just churn them out. I'm gonna grab my cup of tea and just have a chat about a few things that are coming up. I will mention quickly, I am very excited. I'm going to start one of the Herbal Academy's herbalists courses. So I'm very excited about it. I'm doing the introductory one and I really can't wait to just press that button and start the course. I've purchased it already and it's just sitting there waiting for the right day to start. I have put off doing any of their courses for years now because I don't have the time. But if you're really passionate about something and you really want to do it, you will find the time, or just make the time somehow. I don't know, have less sleep, I guess. Yeah, but I'm really excited about using the herbs in my garden and making all these magical concoctions, making some teas and infusions, you know, oil infusions to make balms, and I'm very, very excited to learn about the properties of herbs and what they're used for. Yeah, it's gonna be lots of fun, and I've started sowing some seeds for even more herbs and flowers that I can use while I'm doing this course, and that I can use for us in the family as medicinal remedies, but also to make my own balms and creams and such. So I'm very excited about that. It is September. And next month I am planning to do the Vlogtober. Vlogtober? I think that's what it's called. Yeah, so I will be vlogging every day of October. A lot of you loved my May vlogs that I did for Me Made May. And October, there will probably be a little bit more of the garden in these vlogs. But a lot of making as well, because as we lead up to our birthday season, so my son's birthday is in October, then Hazel is in November and Charlotte is in December, and then we have Christmas, and I make a lot of the gifts that we give to our children. So there's a lot of making that I need to get done. Yeah, so you will see a lot of making in those vlogs as well, just as long as I can keep it secret from my son and daughters with the things that I'm making. I'm hoping that it will spur me along to get the things done like it did in May. I really felt like May flowed beautifully. I'm a little bit concerned as to with October having like so many more things that I need to do. I think there'll just be little snippets of the days, and again I will film one day and then I'll edit it and I'll put it up the following day, so I'll always be a day behind, so that will give me enough time to edit and get everything up. But I'm looking forward to that. I'm also going to do Vlogmas, and that will be easier because I won't be working at that time. So that will be good, because the working does take up a bit of my brain space as well. There should be lots to show in the vlogs of October because it is spring, and that is a very busy time for us here on our farm. And this year I am planning to try and grow even more food, putting more food into our pantry to store for the winter and into next spring as well. So that is my aim. And once again, thank you so much for being here in this space. I really, really appreciate everything that you do here, all the likes and all the comments. It's such a great community here that we have, and I'm really enjoying doing these videos for you every week. As I have probably said previously, my plan on this channel here is to have 4 videos that come up each month, or thereabouts 4. So every 4th week will be a knitting podcast, and then the other 3 videos between are either a garden or a mending or a preserving or just a vlog of the week, or something like that. So just a little snippet of what's happening during the week here on our homestead. Yeah, so if you like all of the content that I bring here, please remember to hit subscribe as well. That really helps. I'm gonna have a big giveaway when I reach 1,000 subscribers. I'm somewhere in the 800s at the moment, and that's just it's just so lovely to know that so many of you want to be here and that you enjoy my videos. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I really, really thank you. It just means so much to me. Enjoy your knitting, and I will see you next time. Take care.